Bendy and the Ink Machine Chapter 4 is finally here! Bendy and the Ink Machine Chapter 4 is finally here! Even before its new release, we knew the horrors that went into the winding, haunted hallways of Joey Drew Studios. It's as though the ink was a metaphor, and a literal embodiment of the collective misery of the employees here. Such terror, and such mystery. And that's why you're here, isn't it? To know the mystery, to solve it, and throw it on the ground and punch it in the face and eat its family! Maybe I took that too far, but what I do know is you are here for answers, and—
Boy, look at me! Look at me, boy!
Do I have a heaping dose of mind blow for you and your hot mess of a brain? What if I told you that the character we play as has within him a story you didn't know? A secret you didn't know? What if I told you the chaotic happenings that unfold in Chapter 4 are not all as they appear? When hallucinations appear as reality, what can we say is really real? If that makes your brain hurt, great! I'm here to be your therapist. Your brain therapist. So lay down on that stereotypical leather couch that therapists don't actually use. Open your mind to the terrifying truths of what is possible, and prepare yourself for demons who haunt the artistic process. For the story of cynicism manifested into ink. For the story of Bendy and the Ink Machine Chapter 4, Colossal Wonders. The story you never knew. So now that that's all out of the way, it's time to embark into the new world of Bendy, the new chapter. We start by the broken elevator that we were riding in at the end of Chapter 3. Remember, Alice messed with the elevator a wee bit, enough to cause it to come crashing down. Then, as we awoke in the rubble, she walked up behind Boris and snatched him. So yeah, we're here next to a broken elevator on level S, and all we know is that we've got to rescue our good old pal Boris. So we go forward into the accounting and finance offices of Grant Cohen, really reinforcing those stereotypes, having a Jew head your finance department. We have 2 Jews on our channel, and one of them's actually in charge of the finances. Never mind. Forget I said anything. Inside this office is not much of interest. Writing about money and taxes line the walls, and it seems pretty disorganized, but the only thing we care about is the audio tape, which plays some horrible, scary noises. It sounds like someone or something struggling against a snarling monster, ending in a splash noise of liquid. Interesting. Creepy. But interesting. From here, we go into the archives room, where we're greeted by a lovely bunch of inky people who look to have been frozen in ink and are now worshipping a Bendy statue. We go past into a room filled with books and safes, and proceed to push a number of secret book levers to open a door. Our surroundings change and go crazy, and everything around us seems to be possessed? Our vision jerks into this madness and then abruptly jerks out. But what could that be? What's going on? I have a feeling we'll figure these things out in due time. Wink wink, nudge nudge. Pressing the correct books leads us into the darkness, a place that looks kinda familiar. No people are in the cages though, which ultimately takes us to the beginning of a hallway. A creepy hallway. For good reason! When we start walking down it, another vision-jerking state occurs where arms are reaching out of the sides of the wall, grabbing at us. A flashback? Bendy's goopy minions? Spirits angry with Zach Bagans?
Is this guy looking at me over here like I'm a freak just because I'm lifting 65 pounds with one arm?
I have a feeling something coming up will explain things more. Maybe. This is Bendy after all. Well, onwards and upwards! From here, we climb stairs to a different level where we see a crying ink man. He isn't like the other ink creatures we've seen before. He's real. This Inkman speaks as though he was once a person with a family and a life outside of this dark prison, in that all he wants to do is go home. Going to the room before him, we see a dozen more of these people, many of them sobbing and sitting around, not really doing anything. So then why are these inky creatures not doing anything to attack us? Why are they crying? They each seem to possess a uniqueness, a collective sadness. While they aren't as feeble-minded as the primitive ink creatures that have attacked us in previous chapters, they don't have the confidence to protect themselves. It seems as though these are actual humans, like real-life people. But who? Well, who would have been in Joey Drew Studios when all this crazy crap went down? The employees. Which explains why that man from earlier sang, "I just want to go home." just wants to leave this place and go home. It explains why each of these inky creatures have an individual form, an individual personality, that each contributes to a collective sadness. Questioning the meaning of all this takes us into the ducts, where we start to hear a thumping. Could this be the big creature next to Alice in the Chapter 4 trailer? Oh god, I hope it's just you. We'll leave you be. Traversing the ducts actually takes us to the planning stage of Bendyland, courtesy of the great Bertram Piedmont, making Bendy and this cartoony franchise look just a little bit more like Walt and his empire. Bendyland, or rather Bendy Hell as the sign suggests, is a land of wonder. Well, it could be. This more seems like a little taste. The only games around are a carnival strongman game, a ball throwing game, and a shooting one. A little underwhelming for Bendyland, but we do find some interesting things lying around, one of them being a mechanical demon, an animatronic Bendy who Lacey Benton, a worker of the park, claims to move when her back is turned. Strange, reminds me of a franchise I thought I escaped from. This animatronic is sitting beside some giant duck heads, which to my knowledge have no significance here except creeping me the hell out. Oh, there's also a giant hand hanging above the butcher gang in one of the rooms. A callback to the Chapter 4 trailer where Alice is creating some sort of monster? We don't see anything to suggest that in the rest of the chapter, but with this, we do know animatronics exist in the studio. So who knows what Chapter 5 might bring? Especially looking at all the giant Bendy statues. But after these creepy findings and switching a couple power levers, we once again make the acquaintance of a Benedict Cumberbatch or Bertram Piedmont, some high-class name. We play his tape.
The biggest park ever built. A centerfold of attractions.
Hold on, I'm gonna let you finish, but the biggest park ever built? Dude, my county fair is bigger than this park. Just saying. You're striking me as a pretty crummy old school designer with a pretentious looking face! I mean, that happens when your head is up your own booty your whole life, but I digress, Mr. Piedmont. Continue.
I built this park. It was to be a masterpiece. My masterpiece. And now you think you can just throw me out? Trample me to the dust and forget me? No! This is my park, my glory. You may think I'm gone, but I'm still here.
Oh boy, he's still here all right. I mean, this angry, crazy park attraction even has his face. Hey, it even bears a resemblance to our drawing from earlier. Oh, Mr. Piedmont, we know you better than you know yourself. But after grabbing an axe and chopping away all the arms of Bertram's slightly inconvenient battle machine, the creepo face takes a couple last gulps for air before shutting down. Forever. So after dealing with the dude who literally became a ride, you can probably imagine things only get weirder from here. They sure do. Up next, we head downstairs to find some dope trains. Nice. And a recording from Joey Drew. Let's listen in, shall we?
I believe there's something special in Oz. With true inner strength, you can conquer even your biggest challenges. Okay, let's stop right there. I can only do so many takes in this trash a day.
Whoa man, this recording starts off with the same Joey Drew we've heard in previous recordings. A fake-sounding peppy fake man who is fake, who has lots to say about believing in yourself and following your dreams and being yourself. Which is cool, but clearly he doesn't actually believe any of it. Calling the top paragraph trash and being a meanie to whoever is working for him. All of this is interesting, but we're in projectionist territory. Whoa, buddy, I'm just looking around, not trying to mess with your pile of ink hearts. Jeez, that's gross. You're gross and chasing me, oh jeez! But after turning out the lights, our projectionist friend is nowhere to be found until he isn't, in which case we've gotta run! Just gotta hide in this thing and... Geez, Bendy, that was rude. So yeah, Bendy decapitated the projectionist and stole his body, presumably for his own purposes. But that's not the interesting part. During this cutscene, you'll notice a red filter splashes over the screen, and the walls turn black and creepy, just like earlier in the chapter when hands were reaching out of the walls of a hallway and safes were opening and shutting for no reason. My initial conclusion for these creepy cutaways from reality were that they were just that, not reality. Something about them feels like a hallucination, but this encounter with Bendy in the projection projectionist changes all of that. When we leave the wooden thing, you'll notice the projectionist's severed head lying on the ground. If Bendy didn't really kill the projectionist, if all these creepy cutaways with the red filter and black walls aren't real, then why is the projectionist's head still on the ground? The good news is this makes this game even more interesting. The bad news is that all those creepy arms reaching out of the walls in the hallway were actually real. But it's fine, I'm fine. All of this leads me to one question. Why does reality occasionally shift into chaos? Why are we given a screen with a red filter, black walls, and shown terrifying imagery of the ink doing weird stuff, or even just the studio itself doing weird stuff? Well, that's where things get interesting. Recall in Chapter 3 when Alice is torturing that poor dude from the Butcher Gang. She mentions the ink is a buzzing, screaming well of voices, and that it could have pulled her back. We've discussed in previous videos that this makes clear that the ink is a collective consciousness containing all the feelings, all the thoughts, all the misery of everyone in the studio. Could it be that when these creepy cutscenes occur, our mind is actually connecting with this consciousness? Could it be that Henry is not what he appears to be? In fact, every time we die in this game, we only respawn after crawling out of an inky womb. Pretty weird. And even weirder is that if you play through the new and improved versions of chapters 1 through 3, you now also climb through this inky womb before every respawn. It's as though the Meatly is trying to tell us something about Henry, something that's been true about him all along. If Henry is able to respawn by crawling out of an inky womb, that must mean he is a part of the ink. If you reverse the audio during the womb respawns, you can also make out Henry's voice plus a collection of whispers. Henry is one of them. We're one of them. The womb, the visions. When we die, we return to the collective ink consciousness. And during these hellish cutscenes, we must be connecting with it again. In this last cutscene, where Bendy kills the projectionist, surely this triggered something within us to reconnect with the ink hive mind. If you still don't believe me, then look no further than Chapter 2. After Sammy thwacks us over the head, he gives his creepy monologue, in the middle of which he almost seems to recognize us. Henry worked for this studio 30 years ago, but even with old age, it shouldn't have taken him that long to see who we were, and he certainly shouldn't have been unsure when he finally got a flash of recognition. No, Sammy didn't recognize us because we are ink. Maybe Henry just aged terribly, but I don't think so, because in the new and improved Chapter 2 with the gorgeous realistic animation, Sammy utters his last line about him setting us free while looking us in the eyes. They put a lot of time into revamping these animations, so it can't be a coincidence he looks at us closely when talking of setting us free. Him and us. Indeed, this is all pretty mind-blowing, but we ain't done yet. After this whole fiasco, we go for a ride into a room with some interesting paintings. Definitely reminds me of the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland, just saying. Also, there's a roided-out Boris chasing us and trying to kill us. Probably should have mentioned that. No doubt this Boris works for Alice, and after thwacking him into submission, he evaporates, and Alice gets super butthurt. So much so, she charges at us, only to get a sword through the heart from an Alice that's kinda cute. And Boris! Don't worry, buddy, you're cute too. But hold on, that's the end? Yes. Well, I've got some questions. Namely, who the heck is this new Alice and why is she so much less disheveled? Well, recall that the reason for Alice being crazy in the first place is because she, in no small part, is Susie Campbell, the woman who was replaced by Allison because of Joey Drew's wandering lust. In previous videos, we speculated that Susie and Allison were both inside of Alice, and that Susie was the one calling the shots. With this new mind blow of an ending, it's time to update our thinking. More than likely, this newer, actually not terrifying Alice is Allison. She's the one who did the replacing, and while we can't know how she really feels about taking someone's spot and breaking someone's heart, we do know that she doesn't need to wrestle her insecurities like Susie did. She did the replacing, and so her mind is clear and needs not fight off demons, at least internally. There's another thing to take note of, however. After the game ends, we see evil Alice on the ground surrounded by ink people. Presumably, they are serving Bendy. But what's more important is Alice didn't disappear. Her body remains, yet when we kill the muscly evil Boris and every other ink creature in this game, their bodies disintegrate. Except for the discombobulated Borises and pals we saw in the earlier chapters. Is this a coincidence? I think not! And if it isn't a coincidence, then what do evil Alice and these poor, tortured cartoon characters have in common? What makes their bodies remain even after death? The answer was given to us in Chapter 4, if you know how to read between the lines. We always knew Joey Drew Studios employed countless people we never got to see, until Chapter 4 showed us the horde of miserable ink people who are at times scared. at times knocking their head against a wall or just plain sobbing. Indeed, these employees used to have bodies made of lasting flesh, but now they consist only of temporary ink. So then what happened to their original bodies? In the beginning of Chapter 4, we see many of these ink-slaved, frozen, and looking at a Bendy statue. Then, if you leave, do a couple things, and come back, they've disappeared. They've dissolved back into the collective ink hive mind. Their bodies are not lasting. They are trapped and tormented souls, condensed into ink. Their bodies were stolen by Susie, converted into flesh intertwined with ink, and then had their ink hearts harvested by Susie in order to, as we hear in Chapter 3, make her more beautiful. These Borises and other characters used to be people, but the ink machine made them into bizarre human cartoon ink hybrids to suit our lovely Angel's purposes. And so, with the good Alice Angel presumed to be Allison, with the understanding that these characters used to be employees, and with Henry undeniably part of the greater ink consciousness that these now trapped employees are a part of, that's the story of Bendy and the Ink Machine Chapter 4. The story of colossal wonders gone horribly, horribly wrong. The story you never knew. And that's my take on Bendy Chapter 4. Did I miss anything? Let me know in the comments down below. Or else. Anyway, we had a blast making this video, and I hope you had a blast watching it. And you know what else was a blast? Streaming this game with all of you.
Suck it, you crazy bitch.
Yeah.
Like really, Ryan and I kept going for over 5 hours for a reason. We included all the new and improved older chapters too. It didn't take over 5 hours to beat Chapter 4, okay? And me talking about this wouldn't be complete without thanking those who helped us with the ideas in this video. Special thanks to DJ Purple 3, Captain Tiger Lily, The Jinx Plays, Mirth Mouser, Adpocalyptic, and everyone else who watched and helped us along the way. You guys are the best. Like really. You're the best. If you want to see more, check out our streams every weekday at 3 p.m. Pacific time at twitch.tv/Treesicle. And if you missed the Bendy Chapter 4 stream, you can watch the highlights by clicking this video right here. It's on our new channel, Streamsicle, where we upload the best parts of our streams for maximum viewing pleasure, and you get to see the creative process behind this video. In action! Watch it now! I'm Grant. That's all I got for today. I'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone!